99.9% of the food that we eat as human beings comes from the soil. Every food, I mean, that we take, it comes from the soil, from the ground, except that of meat, because we all know that you can't plant meat in the ground, but the rest of the food that we enjoy as human beings comes from the soil. Though some of you may not like to touch the soil because you think you are too smart for that, forgetting that it is from the very soil where you get your food. It is from the very soil where you came from, and to it shall you go back. So there is a very big relationship between a human being and the soil, because we were created from the soil and we get our food. We are being fed by the soil. Therefore, today, in the same line, I'm going to talk about how to grow this stuff. I'm sure you are able to see it clearly. You are able to see it properly. This is a herb, yeah. It's a herb, and when we talk of herbs, it reminds me of something that is written in the book of Genesis, that is in the Bible, of course, starting from chapter 1, verses 26 going down. We see God here speaking to his new creation, that is Adam, and he was instructing him what he should eat. He said, "For every herb that produces seed and fruit, to you it shall be food, it shall be for food." Now, there is a word that I want you to consider here in the words of God to Adam. For every herb that produces seed and fruit. Now, underline the word every. This simply means that God was not selective on what herbs should be given to human being for food. God could not exclude others. All the herbs, provided they are herbs, they were meant for food. So I don't understand where you got the concept to say there are herbs that must never be taken as food. There are herbs that must never be grown. There are herbs that must be excluded in the line of food for humans. But if we read the Bible, I'm not trying to come up with a new doctrine here or the new concept. It's written in black and white in the Bible. Unless if you want to edit the Bible yourself. But if you are reading the Bible, or a good translation, especially the King James Version, the Gideons, the New International Version, and so on, those good Bibles, you are going to see that God was saying every herb. So we need to grow herbs, and I'm growing them successively, as you can see, and you can imagine the amount of money that I'm going to have. These herbs are legalized. There are no herbs that must be illegal in terms of planting them. I'm talking in line of the Bible verses, the Bible verse, especially this one that I've quoted. Yeah. So we are going to talk about how to grow this stuff. How can you succeed to grow this herb if for sure you want to venture into farming, especially if you want to grow this type of herb. Now, before I talk more about how to grow this stuff, let me first of all talk about the importance of land, because you can't be a farmer without land. Yeah, every farmer needs land. As you all know that you can't plant, you can't do farming in the sky, in the air, unless in the years to come, as we advance in technology, probably people will be able to farm in the air, because it's top technology. Maybe as we advance in this area of technology, people, because it sounds awkward now, but who knew that by this time people would be flying? Who knew that by this time people would be communicating from here in Zambia to the United States of America at the same time? Yeah, it's technology or technology. No, at the moment, we've not yet advanced in that level to grow or to do farming in the air, but we are not sure. So, one compulsory thing that you must have if you want to venture into farming is that you must have a land. It's not optional, but it's compulsory that you must have a land. Now, let's begin to see the attitudes of God uh, pertaining the issues of land to his children. Let's also look at the first parent of ours, that is Adam. We see that God, the first gift that God gave to Adam was not a wife, was not Eve, was nothing else apart. from land, because the Bible says that God gave Adam the Garden of Eden. He gave him dominion over the land, dominion over the sea, dominion over the birds of the air. So the first gift that God gave to Adam was land, because you can't have a garden without land. Every garden is on the land, and the first gift that God gave to Adam was land. So he received land from God. So we're able to see that God cares that his children must have land. As we read down, we see the descendants of Adam, that is the father of faith himself, Abram. I'm not saying Abraham, but I'm saying Abram. God appeared unto Abram and told him to say, I want you to get out of this land so that you may go to the place where I'm going to show you. Yeah. To do what? He wanted Abram to receive the land. He was supposed to get out of the land where he was so that God would give him a land, a good land. As we continue, as if it's not enough, we go down, we see the descendants of Abraham himself, the Israelites. They were in the bondage of Egypt, and they were slaves there. But we see God through Moses coming to the Israelites and told them to say, get out of this land so that I may lead you, I may take you to the promised land, the land which flows with milk and honey. So, to cut the story short, as you know it, the Israelites were moved from the land of bondage to the promised land which flows with milk and honey. So God, we're able to see God that is very much interested with issues of land to his children. He gave Adam, that was the first gift. He gave Abraham, he gave the Israelites. So we see God very much connected with issues of land, that his children must have land. And the question still comes to you, that if you are a child of God, don't you care that God cares that you must have land? Don't you think that God is very much concerned that you must have land? The question now comes, do you have a land? Do you have a plot? Nowadays they are called plots. Have you bought a plot? Have you bought a land? You see, we were created out of the land. We are created out of the ground. Land is part of ours as human beings. That's the reason why, even in heaven, when we go to heaven, we are just going there for a holiday. After 1,000 years, the Bible puts it clear that we shall come back to this earth, because we are not heavenly material. We are earthly material. As if it's not enough. If you happen to be taken to these other planets, uh, in the other days we are told to say there are 9 planets. But today I hear that there are more than 5 million, 500 million years, 500 million planets in the universe, and they are still discovering new ones. So if you happen to be taken to one of those planets, do you know that you won't survive? If you happen to be taken to Neptune, Jupiter, Pluto, or any other planet, you die there, because you are not the material from any of those planets, but you are earthly material. It's only here on earth where you can live, because we are earthly material. So you are part of this earth, and as a result, you must have a land. You must have a land. God cares that you should have a land because you are part of it. Now, someone may say, in my case, there is no need for me to have a land because I'm not a farmer. I can't do farming. Yes, probably you are not a farmer. Or maybe you are lazy. You can't do farming like this. And there is nothing. You feel like the land is only used for farming. Yeah, my brother, my sister, let me tell you, say, land is not only for farming. You may be lazy, you may not be interested in farming, but you must have a land, because it is on the land where you're going to put everything that you're going to have in future. Everything that you have, it depends. Do you think it's wise? Do you think it's wisdom to park your vehicle on a borrowed land? What if the owner of the land comes and claims for that land? Where are you going to park your vehicle? How can you buy a lot of cattle without land? Where are you going to put it? How can you build a house without land? So you are going to discover and to see, to observe that almost everything depends on the land. You can't be called a rich person without land. Every rich person, every wealthy person, everyone who has succeeded in life, I strongly believe that he or she has land. Please, let's buy land. It's not only used for farming. I remember, for example, when I came here in Siavonga, the plots used to sell at 2,000 kwacha, a very big plot, 2,000 kwacha. And some plots now, in this year 2019, they sell at 15,000 kwacha. Can you imagine? So I condemn and blame myself to say, but why didn't I buy 10 plots? Because they were so cheap. If I could buy 10 plots and then now I sell them, I would have been a millionaire, if not a billionaire. Can you imagine a plot that you bought at 2,000 kwacha, you sell it at 15,000 kwacha? Can you imagine the difference in terms of the profit? A very big profit. So I would have been a millionaire through land without working. You just bought land and then you are selling them millions of money. So the land, when you talk about the issues of land, is not only about farming. Land is very, very, very critical. Land is very, very important because it is on the land where you're going to do everything. And it is the only commodity which doesn't lose value. When you buy land, your children's children will use it. Your descendants will find it, will use it. So I am urging every child of God that you should have land. In fact, you must have land. You must have land. In as much as you call yourself a child of God, God Himself cares that you must have land. Remember that land is wealth, and wealth is land. Wealth, as most people take it, is not buying vehicles. Can you imagine when you buy a vehicle, you need road tax, you need driving license, of which you need to spend money, you need fuel, you need servicing it almost every after I don't know how many months. You need money. The vehicle will continue swallowing your money. But when you buy land, the land itself will continue vomiting money for you. It will. There is no record where land will swallow your money, but land will only vomit money for you. The way it is going to vomit money, these are millions of money. Yeah. Uh, one one thing that I've agreed with myself is never to stop to be a farmer. I've agreed, I've made a covenant within myself to say I'll be a farmer forever. I don't regret being a farmer because I've come to conclude that God for sure has hidden his things on the land. There is something special about this soil that you are able to see. There is something special. God has hidden money here. There is money in the soil. I don't even know the one that I should appreciate most. These two lecturers, my mother, who made it possible that I should have farms like this one, my mother who taught me to hold a hoe, and also a college lecturer who taught me how to read and how to do to get monthly salary, so to say. Yeah. So I don't know the most powerful lecturer that I should appreciate most, a college lecturer and also my mother, who made it possible that I should have money every day through farming, and the college lecturer who made it possible that I should have monthly salary. So there is something special about land. You may try to ignore it, and I remember very well that was my first advice from my father. Immediately I started working, he said, can you start preparing for retirement? So I was confused, but what is my father trying to say here? How can I start preparing for retirement when I'm just starting working? And it's now when I'm able to see, because I was able to get his advice. He taught me to say the first thing that you must prioritize is to buy land. And I did it. And I don't regret it because my father saw other people who panic when they're about to retire. You find that they don't have a house. When they are 50 years or 60 years, that's now when they think of buying a land. And by that time, it's not possible because you've got a lot of children who need sponsorship in their education, a lot of things that need money. So before you have children who demand money from you in terms of their education, before you don't, it's better you buy land. when you are still free. So this is an advice, a very powerful advice to those that are still new as civil servants. Please, the first thing that you must consider is buying land. Those that are in the teaching fraternity, those who were just deployed recently, please consider buy land. Consider to buy land. Just as I've already said, to say land is wealth and wealth is land. Anyway, let me pause. I've spoken too much. This is Evangelist Mirimo Zisaga. For more videos concerning the issues of farming and gospel preaching about our Savior Jesus Christ and the issues of salvation, please, you can also uh, view me or see me or meet me on the YouTube. Just type Mirimo Zisaga. All some of the videos that I've posted some recently, you'll be able to see them. And for you, I urge you to subscribe so that every video that comes in terms of advices, in terms of sharing wisdom, we share together and we benefit. May God bless you, even as you contemplate on prioritizing the issues of buying land. Land is wealth, and wealth is land.